Hey, do you even have a purpose in coming into work? You are a total waste of oxygen. How does your company even put up with you? Useless guys like you should just stay at home, in bed.
Hello, Walter. Was there something I could help you with today?
You don't even know what you've done? The paperwork you submitted today was full of errors. I was this close to having to work off the clock to fix all the mistakes. Perhaps you need to have someone more capable take over this contract. You're more trouble than you're worth. Do me a favor and go make your mistakes on someone else's account.
I'm sorry that you feel that way about me. But I'm quite certain that there weren't any mistakes in the paperwork.
You're kidding, right? It was full of them. Your numbers didn't match up at all with our numbers. So I ended up having to redo all of our paperwork so that the numbers lined up. You have no idea how much extra work I had to do.
What? Doesn't that just mean that your paperwork was wrong to begin with?
Shut your mouth. Don't forget who you're talking to here. Let me remind you that I'm the elite banker for one of your company's most important clients.
My apologies. It wasn't my intention to offend you in any way. I'm well aware that you work on behalf of Prolcom. But I can assure you that there were no errors in our paperwork.
You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When I said that you are a complete waste of oxygen, you just put the blame on someone else for your own mistakes. That's just cowardly.
You're absolutely right, and I agree with you completely.
You're nothing more than a lowly employee. Only suitable for punching in numbers and waiting for your next command. Compared to my status as an elite banker, we're in a completely different class. So don't think that you can agree with my opinions as if we're equals. You don't have that right.
I'm sorry for overstepping my boundaries.
Anyways, you better redo the paperwork and deliver the brand new documents by tomorrow.
What? Why is that necessary?
Because I said so, you fool. Besides, I had to redo our paperwork. So you should have to endure the same punishment.
But, as far as I can tell, there was nothing wrong with our numbers. How do you expect me to write up a new report in that case?
That's not my problem. Figure it out yourself. You just need to do as I say.
But there's nothing to fix in our report.
Be quiet. If you're gonna keep complaining to avoid doing the work, we'll just break off this contract. Do you understand? I better have the new paperwork in my hands by tomorrow morning.
Walter! Please, wait! Let me just run this past my manager first. So, that was what happened during our call. Should I comply with Walter's demands and create a new report?
Don't bother at all. Maybe just put a fresh cover page on it and call it a day. That fool won't even notice the difference. Presenting him with a brand new report won't matter, he'll complain about it anyway. He's always been like that. So don't waste time worrying about his illogical demands.
I see. Was he this difficult to work with even when you handled the contracts?
Difficult doesn't even begin to describe the huge nuisance he's been. Now that he's in a managerial position, I bet he's even more troublesome to work with. I'm sorry for having you take over such a difficult client, Ronald.
It's not your fault. But I'm already facing a dilemma on how to deal with his antics.
Don't worry, this won't last much longer. I have a feeling he won't be able to keep up his ridiculous games forever. Sooner or later, he'll face the consequences.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just saying, because of the way he acts like he's superior to everyone else. I'm sure he's made a lot of enemies along the way. Things will get much better soon, I'm sure. Bear with him a little longer, but don't let him get under your skin too much.
Sure, if you think that's best. I'll do my best.
That's what I like to hear. By the way, how's your wife doing these days?
She's great, as always.
Our company owes her a great deal too. Please give her my best regards.
I will, definitely.
If I remember correctly, isn't your wedding anniversary coming up soon? Perhaps you can take her out to dinner at that fancy steakhouse her father is also fond of.
That's a great idea. I think I'll do that. Thank you very much for your thoughtfulness. I'll talk to her and see how she feels about it.
I can't believe you had the nerve. You actually thought it would be okay to bring someone like that to such a high-end steakhouse? Wait, don't tell me she's your wife, or something?
I hope you don't think that you can get away with treating my wife that way.
What are you talking about? What kind of an idiot takes their blind wife out to a fancy restaurant like that? Don't you have any common sense? Think about the staff and other customers who have to accommodate your handicap. What makes you think that you should be so entitled? You're nothing more than a lowly paper pusher.
That's enough. We were supposed to be celebrating our wedding anniversary tonight. You had no right to ruin our evening like that. You're definitely going to pay for what you did.
Oh, sure, whatever you say. I hope you're not trying to threaten me or anything, because nothing you say can frighten me, you poor worthless nobody. Anyways, that's not the kind of woman that you should be bringing to a fancy steakhouse in the first place.
I said that's enough. So what if you're a so-called elite banker for our client? Tonight's dinner had nothing to do with our business relationship. You had absolutely no right to look down on us like that. What you said was completely unacceptable. And it definitely was not your position to scream at us to go home. Don't you think you're the one with no consideration for the restaurant? Or the rest of the customers?
Actually, it's more embarrassing that lower-end people like you think they deserve to dine there. And you realized that too, when I pointed it out, right? That's why you left in the middle of your meal.
Don't be so sure of yourself. We have a long-established relationship with the owner of that restaurant. So we decided to leave as a consideration to him. We didn't want to cause any more of a scene. So we decided to deal with the situation in a mature way. I hope you don't get the wrong idea about why we left.
A long-established relationship? You're right, how is that even possible? There's no way you have the skills or the experience to establish any kind of relationship with people in this class.
Well, let me tell you now that your career is finished. And it's too late now to make up for anything you've done before.
Huh? What are you even talking about?
My wife is usually very good-natured and takes everything in stride. But she is absolutely furious with your behavior tonight. Unfortunately, it seems like you've really taken things too far this time.
I have no interest whatsoever in anything your blind wife has to say about me. All I said was that handicapped people shouldn't be out eating at high-end restaurants. If only for their good, they should just stay home. Do you think I said something that was wrong?
Everything you said and did was wrong.
But this is the kind of place that only elite bankers like me should frequent. Bringing your blind wife here is nothing but a nuisance for everyone. So that's why I said you should go home and stay home. I'm sure most people will agree that it's a legitimate argument.
Well, in that case, we'll be transferring our $500 million in assets to a different bank immediately.
Huh?
You heard me. And of course we'll be sure to inform your bank that the reason we're closing our account is because of your disrespectful actions. I told you that you were way out of line this time, right? Now you get to pay.
What 500 million are you talking about?
Perhaps this information was never passed along to a dimwit like you. But my wife's family has a tremendous amount of money deposited in your bank.
Your wife's family. So what? There's probably not much your blind wife can do about it anyways.
She may be blind, but she's not stupid. Just so you know, my wife's family owns and operates multiple real estate and hotel businesses. And they're one of the wealthiest families in the country.
What?
Her family invests in our company as well. As a matter of fact, it's even possible that they've made a financial contribution to your bank, in addition to keeping their funds there. But who knows?
You're joking, right?
Of course I'm serious. What good would it even do for me to joke about this? My wife may not be able to rely on her eyesight, but her mind is as sharp as any elite business person. She's very much involved in her family's business dealings, and I'm proud of everything that she's accomplished. But when she heard the way you were insulting me at the restaurant, she was infuriated. Which, like I said before, is quite unusual for her, because she hardly ever loses her temper.
Infuriated? At me?
Who else, you buffoon? I'm sure if it was just that one incident at the restaurant, she wouldn't have gotten this angry. But she's also well aware about your constant put-downs towards me. She's quite determined to make you pay for everything.
Wait, is all of this really true?
She's already getting in touch with her father as we speak. So I'm sure that his secretary will be contacting your bank right away. And I can guarantee you that your name will be coming up in that call. It's all over for you.
Are you serious about doing all of that? How is that even possible? Your bank is going to lose a very important account that's worth a lot of money. And it's all your fault. I'm pretty certain they'll make you take responsibility for such a huge blunder. You may be an account manager now, but you definitely won't be moving up any higher than that. That's for sure.
Wait, please. I still can't believe this. This can't be happening to me. You have no idea how hard I've worked to get this far.
Well, even if it weren't for this incident involving my wife, your career as a banker was going to be over sooner or later.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Your unlawful actions have been exposed. An elite banker that embezzled company money. I'm sure that's news worth making the headlines.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My manager already told me everything. Word is that everyone hates you and you've made enemies left. And right because of how you look down on everyone, right?
People hate me? Like who?
You really have no idea? Everyone that's ever had to deal with your arrogance. Which, to say the least, includes everyone in my office.
What? I don't understand. What reason do they even have for hating me?
You honestly weren't aware? This is a more serious problem than I imagined. You're nothing more than a worthless bully who's only capable of dealing with his frustrations by blaming other people for his own mistakes. You don't possibly think that anyone would be foolish enough to respect someone like that, do you?
Wait, now you're the one that's getting out of line. And besides, I haven't done anything illegal. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Really? Embezzling company money for your personal use? I think it's a big enough deal that it'll make the headlines. And your career will be over for sure.
As a matter of fact, the police will get involved as well. That settles it. You can say goodbye to your elite banker status. And any other good standing you might have enjoyed.
This can't be happening. And what embezzlement? I've never done such a thing.
You don't need to convince me. Take it up with your company and the police. Well, this is all just the result of you making enemies wherever you go. It's only a natural consequence. You're getting everything that you deserve.
You just have no idea what I need to deal with. Being in middle management is more stressful than you can ever imagine. I couldn't help it. My job was getting too overwhelming. So what? I just padded my expense report occasionally and teased some of our business acquaintances. No harm done, right?
That's where you're wrong. It might be just stress relief for you. But have you ever thought about the people who are on the receiving end of your behavior? But if it's work-related stress that causes you to act like this, then how do you explain the way you treated my wife today? I believe she has nothing to do with your job. So it would be irrational to blame your actions on stress.
Oh, well, that was something else. I never meant for it to come out that offensive. I was just trying to look out for everyone's best interests.
You don't actually think that I believe such a lame excuse, do you? I assure you that I will be looking into what I can do about this matter thoroughly. And first things first. My wife will be transferring her family's assets to a different bank immediately. In addition, we'll be issuing a complaint for damages in regards to your speech and conduct towards my wife.
A complaint? For what?
What you've done is considered defamation under the law. Oh, and I almost forgot. You threw a glass of water in my face when you told me to leave the restaurant. That counts as assault, if I remember right. You're not gonna blame that on you being drunk or anything, right? If I won't help you even if you do.
No. Well, it wasn't out of spite or anything. I really didn't mean any harm. It was just a misunderstanding, or rather a misleading expression.
What kind of an excuse is that? It sounds like you're having trouble finding your words today. Why don't you just say what's in your mind like you always do?
I'm very sorry. How can I express my sincere regrets to your wife for saying those things to her? Would you please do me a favor? And explain to her that this was all just a small mistake? Make her understand that I never meant any harm. I'm completely ashamed of the way I acted. And you have my sincere apologies for my behavior. So, why don't we just settle this matter between us? There's no need to make this into a big deal. We're all adults here, so let's just be mature about it.
You're kidding, right? You want to act like none of this even happened? When in fact, you are the one who is a poor example of the way a mature adult should act.
Yes, I'm very much aware of my ineptitude. However, we had all had a few drinks and had let ourselves loose.
That doesn't make any sense, especially because we weren't even drinking with each other. As a matter of fact, even if we were drinking together, your actions would still be unforgivable.
I'm very sorry. I just got a call from my manager. Please, try and persuade your wife to change her mind. I'm begging you. I swear that I never had any ill intent. Please, you have to help me.
You're right. What makes you think that we would ever do that?
How can you be so cruel?
That's easy. It's because I've always disliked you from the beginning. Maybe if you finally learned your lesson after all this, you'll look for a new way to deal with work stress from now on. Anyways, goodbye. Former elite banker. My wife's family is renowned for their wealth and success. They held an account with Walter's Bank to manage a portion of their personal assets. However, after the incident at the restaurant, they promptly decided to transfer all their funds to another bank. Once the account executives were informed, they quickly discovered that Walter was the reason behind this sudden request. Additionally, the truth about his embezzlement came to light. Consequently, he not only faced disciplinary dismissal for his dishonesty, but also got reported to the police for his illegal actions. I filed a complaint against Walter for assault, leading to a substantial damages payment and a restraining order. Following that, I severed all my professional ties with Walter, which brought immense relief. As for Walter, even his own family turned their backs on him, causing him to lose everything. Perhaps, for him, it served as a well-learned lesson. Using your status to bully people will eventually result in losing everything you've worked hard for.